Welcome. We are here. Good afternoon. Not sure precisely what we're doing right now. I think that's the one I want. It is distinctly not. Okay, that's fair. No, I know what that image is. That's fine. I want to go in and then that one. There we go. I moved things around and then didn't move them back again. I don't know. I don't know precisely what I'm doing today. I'm just sort of fiddling. That's not quite as rude as it seems. I realise it looked filthy there doing that, but still. Interesting. Yeah. Shouldn't make too much difference. And this one. Oh, did I actually turn the microphone on? Yes, I did. Excellent. Otherwise, I've been talking to myself for a prolonged period of time, which I suppose is not unreasonable. I was just investigating a sort of Miss Marvel. I was curious, and so decided to have a play with Miss Marvel. So at the moment, we're just going to sort of did I click something? No. Sometimes it's difficult to know if what you think you're clicking doesn't actually click. It does become this sort of slight issue of have I clicked something else? And at that point, it's rather awkward. So I probably do want to sort of, probably want to make these identical-ish, at least partially identical. So sort of, is this going to cause issues? No, it seems to just be working. That's helpful. I'm doing it in segments just to sort of try and make sure I get what I'm after, because sometimes when you're using control and select you don't quite get what you're after. At this point it's usually worthwhile, if you've made an effort to select a load of stuff, it's often worthwhile, just in case you need to reselect it. I don't know, scarves backwards. Ideally you want to put a K on the end of the word if you're doing it, and then you can check it by selecting it. There we go, excellent. That seems to have worked. Not hugely necessary, just sometimes well worth the effort. I believe we want normal, I might be wrong. It's a bit more like it. Okay. That's one thing. How many issues is that going to cause, one wonders? I don't know, but let's have a look. Depends on how many issues it solves versus how many issues it causes. I think we're okay-ish, but did I just... I'm hoping... Okay. It's not quite perfect, but I suppose it's my own fault for not thinking of the potential alternative to that. But there you go, never mind. I'll just sort of... just do it again. I know, it's a bit of a waste of time, but you know. It's just one of those things, isn't it? A bit more confident that the control is just going to do exactly what I want it to do this time, so you can be a bit more flippant the second time round. There we go, I think we're okay. Now we'll assign that, select that, excellent. I believe it was a Z, and we just thicken it up. I don't know how much that will or will not have affected the idea of being able to pose that, so I may have been better off doing it afterwards, but I think There you go. If I'm not careful with the bones, I will end up thinning it out again, but apart from that, it's all good, I think. Yeah. Could possibly go a bit thicker. Oops. That. Edit. See, the benefit of using the vertex group means I didn't have to select it all again. May have gone a bit extreme there, but I've found in the past that extreme tends to be better than not. If you make it all sort of look a bit overly done, it tends to work quite well. Because again, you sort of what looks, whoops, didn't really mean to do that other selection. There we go. I don't think it would have done anything, but one of those age-old ones where if you have an effect, something that you didn't think was going to happen, it's often better to deal with it and not have it come back and haunt you in the end. It's exactly the same principle as doing the capes. Just got to be a little bit more careful you don't get the sides, I would say. I don't think we want those. And we don't want those under there either. Well, that should be semi-perfect, but as with before, I don't think it's not going to be as simple as before, because I don't think just. Having said that, you kind of want. That's interesting. Maybe I have grabbed. Yeah. Okay. Right, so that's going to be slightly awkward. I think we'll just do a new one. And then probably just delete that. That's it. And now selecting that should work. Excellent. Again, it may look a little extreme, but I do wonder if, yeah, I think that's the one. But we want to sort of, there we go. Having said that, I wonder if it is going to screw it up as well. Oh, again, it looks, yeah, it does screw it up a bit. Let's think about how best to do it. Oh, there you go. There's your Y. So maybe it's a case of do it in the Y and then manoeuvre it out in the Z. Yeah, that might work. Again, I'll freely admit it looks comically oversized and ridiculous, but I do think when printed as a miniature, hold it. Have we broken it? Oh yeah, apparently we have. Interesting. Are you? Are you going to come back, or are you permanently broken? Huh. Yeah, interesting. The reason why I'm hovering over there is often you can see if it is back from being not working. I don't know. Oh no, there we go. Okay, fair enough. It was just a wibble. Precisely what sort of wibble I do not know, but it was just a wibble. Probably just, I always like to smooth things. Yeah, I had a nasty feeling that bangle thing is not quite as attached as you would think you'd want it to be. It was a hidden cube. That was me sort of sizing it up to a certain extent. I wonder if simple hair will work. Always difficult to know, but sometimes it does. Solidify. Yeah. Don't necessarily want to take it too far, but it just makes... Usually what you do with hair is you make them planes. If you solidify those planes, you then get the potential for the fact that, yeah, you'll get all that sort of snaky detail theoretically come out, but also be sort of a solid object, which is kind of useful. Oh dear, no, okay, we're fine. Apart from the fact that it really did not. I mean, you could argue that's not too bad, because it's sort of gets a lot more snaky detail, but it might be better off. I think it was better just not having it, which is fair enough. Can't deny. Although I suppose I think they're meant to be eyelashes, aren't they? Oh, which are part of the hair? Question mark. Part of the face? Question mark. What are you a part of? Oh, you are a part of the hair, which is why the solidifier's done shocking things to them. But yeah. Yeah, I think that's meant to be an eyelash, isn't it? Which I must admit, for the sake of what we're doing, I don't necessarily think... Oops. I don't necessarily think we need them. Just like that. Object mode, back to the thickened hair. Yeah. I think we're mostly okay there. Well, there you go. I mean, it's a little bit more on it. Can put that back on edit mode. It's not a problem. Does it actually affect? Yeah, I think it does. I need to turn that off. Always forget that. But there you go. I'm now just reviewing things. I got distracted. Anyway, this wasn't technically what I was intending to do, so I'll tell you what we'll do. That should just shut down and show that, that's fine. I'll have another look at my Rhino, but I must admit I'm not in a huge blendery mood, so I don't know precisely what we'll do in Blender. Versus possibly just put it away early. There we go. I was going to say, that grey, was it just loading? Which is fair enough. So we did manage to get through sort of thighs. Oops, that's the wrong one. Oh no, being very slow, which is slightly concerning. But yeah, we did manage to get through sort of thighs. Two thighs, when two thighs go to war, one is all that you can score. So, okay, let's think. Easiest way to perhaps accomplish the next section, which I don't know, I might skip down to this leg section here. and see. But there you go. Would say hello, but his mouth is full. And what is your mouth full of? I mean, I could have a few guesses, although I think, is that... Oh, no. No, it is not. I wondered if it was your barbecue, but because I'd not really paid attention to the name, truth be told. So I colour me curious, what is filling your mouth? If you're allowed to say it, of course. But I think if you had your mouth full of that, you know, really, you ought to be a bit more focused on that. Tell you what, let's just get a... We'll get a plane. Break that off and move it down here so that we've got somewhere to start. Right, so some of those thicker lines we've interpreted as gaps previously. Now, do I want to do that again? I feel like the answer is yes, but that's quite a lot of gaps. Quite a lot of small gaps. Pierogi. I must admit, I vaguely recall what that is. Yes. Yes. Dumplings. I thought so. That was roughly what I was thinking of. They do look nice. They do look nice. I wonder if that's why it's causing issues, because I've left that browser open in the background. Difficult to say for certain. But welcome, old team. We were playing with our Miss Marvel, just very briefly, and now we're going to be playing with our Rhino and seeing what we can accomplish utilising our Rhino. Truth be told, I do not know. Have I managed to fuck that up? No. Excellent. He's still got good old-fashioned pimple. So really, we just want to run this kind of down to there. I must admit that wasn't my most sensible placement, but easy enough to even it up after the fact, I suppose. But how are you, and how are your pierogies? Are they very nice, or are they a bit meh? And you'd have preferred not to have had it in your mouth after all. I'm assuming it's the former. Are you working on any miniatures? Or are you taking a break from miniatures at the moment? I suppose arguably you're eating pierogi. That's what you're doing at this exact moment in time. I'm not 100% convinced this is the way I want to do it, but I've started, so I'll at least try and finish. I have a Polish man near me who sells spit roast chicken. Oh, delicious. Sometimes makes small batches of pierogi, and when he's got them, I raid him blank. I'm not surprised. Fried with onion and bacon bits. I must admit, I'm not a huge onion fan, but the bacon bits, I would hoover the bacon bits up. Something chronic. Just noises of slightly non-committal doings. Until it gets a bit further, I think it's going to continue being sort of non-committal ummings and ahhings, where I'm sort of, is this alright? I don't know. Making progress with your Necromunda. I must admit, Necromunda, they've just released a video game of Necromunda, and I am tempted by it. I say that, they've actually released 2 video games for Necromunda. Obviously it was a tabletop game first, but nonetheless they have released 2 video games of said board game of Necromunda. And it does look quite fun. It does look like an interesting one. So I think my best bet now, slightly awkward, candid way of doing this, because I did that top one first, but still, you can connect them, and then I can sort of try try spreading them in such a way that it forms the shape I'm after, which is generally what you do. In 3D modelling, you spread the shapes around until you get roughly the shape you're after. Well, this is actually more akin to sort of retopologizing than actual 3D modelling, I think. But still, it's all just moving points around, isn't it? I'm slightly tempted. If I get rid of all of that. Oops. Control. And then we just... Basically, I've just removed a line of the geometry because I didn't think it was working for me. Likewise, that one I don't think is working for me either. In fact, you know what? We'll just get rid of this whole side section because we'll just start from here and continue pushing and pulling and stretching and doing it from this angle. Oops. It's a constant barrage of whoops. Whoops. Oh dear. I never played any of the video games. We'll have a look later. Yeah, I mean, the first one I think was meant to be quite boring and not incredibly good. Although there's an argument that says I think the first one was based a lot more on the tabletop game, as in sort of the gameplay-wise as well. So I don't know if that's just video game reviewers not being on board with the tabletop situation, or whether it really is just quite boring. It's always difficult to know for certain with some of these video game reviewers. But the other thing, of course, is the second one, I think, is more of a FPS-y type one. Whether it's sort of standard FPS or more sort of Fallout style RPG FPS, I am unsure because I haven't given it much time. Because it's one of those ones where I think it might be Focus Interactive, and they are reasonably hit and miss. Although usually, eventually I'll click this point. There we go. Usually you can have a laugh with their games. They are just that tiny bit sort of. Whoops. As I say, tiny bit hit and miss. I find. As I say, usually they're entertaining enough, but they are your sort of European. I don't know if they've got an actual title, but sort of a B studio, shall we call them? They make serviceable, fun games, but they're never quite as polished as some. Although, having said that, with some of the with some of the AAA releases, they don't get polished half as much as they need to either. So sometimes a nice bit of Euro jank is quite pleasant and enjoyable. Especially something like Greedfall springs to mind. That was very, very enjoyable. And that's the same studio, so as I say, hit and miss. At this point we want to stop doing that top one. I'll bring that down there. And then continue here. Scaling should have probably been the option here, but moving them around works, it's just a bit slower. And sometimes you don't necessarily think of it, but there you go. Strangely soothing watching you push vertex after vertex around. It can be. You can get into a bit of a sort of zen area, but I can't deny it does grow quite tiresome quite quickly. I don't know how well I'd fare as an actual sort of 3D artist. I suppose arguably if I got paid for it, I suspect the tedium would perhaps be alleviated somewhat. Or at the very least, you could stave it off a little more, I think is the key thing. It doesn't go entirely, but you can sometimes stave off the tediousness of tasks by knowing that you're being paid to do it. As I say, I was in a position of work where it was incredibly tedious. So I know that's not a 100% guaranteed thing. I only used to stave off the tedium for about an hour or so until no, I'm reminded how tedious this is. But in fairness, this at least has something creative at the end of it. That job I had didn't even have that as a benefit. It was just tiresome. There was just no. I mean, arguably there was 0.0 of that job existing, but still. Just an excuse for people to phone up and whine about things. Oh, my mother was not good enough. Oh, the cardboard's a little bit dented. Oh, piss off. You grotty little shit. Obviously that was never actually said to a customer. It was just thought by everybody. Let's drop that down. Leaving quite a substantial gap this side. I don't know whether I'm going to like that or not like that, but yeah, we'll do it. Bore out is just as real as burnout. True, possibly even more so, because at least, well, I don't know. Yeah, they're probably about as prevalent as one another, aren't they? But I think it's easier. I suppose. Well, I was going to say I'm still in two minds as to whether I agree with myself or not at the moment. But there's an element of there's an argument that says with burnout, it's because you're doing something you really want to do, and with bore out, it's something you don't necessarily want to do. So they come up just as frequently. So essentially, I'm agreeing with you. It just sometimes takes my brain a moment or two to try and work out what the fuck it's trying to get around to figuring out before it realises the simple truth is I fully agree. 100% agree with that sentiment. So there you go. It's just a inconvenient quirk of my brain, I suppose. What we might try and do is I'll possibly try and just deal with this leg armour piece here. So essentially that plate, this back plate, that back plate, that plate and the front plate maybe, and possibly even the lower ones. See how long it takes me, I suppose, to a certain extent, but that's the general goal. And then technically we are available for sort of board games, but I think the usual individuals who do sort of join on the regular are I think Mother's Day is taking some precedence to some degree, and company and guests, I think, but we shall see. Anything can happen in the next half hour if Stingray has taught me anything, and Stingray hasn't taught me that much, in fairness. Apart from how much I liked the man Phones, because I thought he was the best character. I could give or take Troy Tempest, but you know, Phones was the man. He was the best. It's not Mother's Day there. Ah, you think? Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, I'm pretty certain today is Mothering Sunday. It's Mothering Sunday. That was an attempt at the Kate Bush song with Wuthering Heights, just to Mothering Sunday. Sometimes it's easier if I just tell you. And that was definitely one of those occasions where it would be easier just to tell you, because I don't think it was a very good rendition. Excellent. Again, I have left quite a substantially larger gap there. For now, I'm going to leave that as a substantially larger gap, because then, at the very least, what I've got is an example of a very thin gap and an example of a slightly larger gap. And at that point, I can make a decision whether I like it or not. What is this? Okay. Oh, I know what that was. bollocks. I really need to learn to not do that. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know what I did there. Balls. Yeah. That's going to be a... It's going to be a lengthy fix. Darn. I must admit, maybe I would be behooven to take a slightly risk, freer of risk notion. So for anybody wondering what the fuck has happened here, if you remember a little while back, I was fiddling with this area, going, oh, I don't need those, and I just box selected them. Well, I box selected a load of stuff there as well, and it's a slight problem. I must admit, I might actually have a slight fix for that. I haven't said that. Okay, yeah, okay, let's try. Okay, so we've saved that as a thing. And now what I want to do is append, armor plating 001. So from this file, I append the object armor plating 001. Oh, not quite what I wanted. But technically yes, technically no. Let's undo that and see if I've missed a setting. Append armor plating. I think probably not that. Don't know. Okay, I don't think we need that. What's that say? Maybe. Did I do the same thing, or have I solved that problem? No, that's doing the same thing. Okay. I suppose it separates it out slightly, but I don't need that. And I don't need that. But I do want that. So if we bring that out to there, back in the collection, then we can probably delete that appended. Oh, okay, no, apparently. No, delete, there we go, excellent. Right, so that's the armour we want. That's the armour I don't know. Okay, no, so that armour. It's a convoluted way to fix a very, probably a simpler problem, but still. Can't you combine this with, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm appending the old save file to this save file. It's just a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be. So we want that. So that should be that. That's the destroyed stupid one. Now I bring that back, and we have managed to repair it. Well, I say repair it, basically turn back time. If I could turn back time. But yeah, there you go. Slightly convoluted method of appending and doing other things. But that's, I suppose, the benefits of being able to do multiple save files and stuff. It's very, very much an oddity. I was going to say, as long as it works, there's no, there's no bad solution if the solution works, I suppose. It's not technically true. It depends on how long the solution works for, I suppose. But now we can carry on and just, yeah, it's just something I need to be slightly more aware of, I think, is my capacity for just going, sweep across those, delete. Need to be a bit more cautious. And possibly just use more objects. Because at the moment now, if I sweep select something, I cannot touch this. This is now a separate object. There is no touching it. Which is beneficial. and probably something I should use more of, because it is a fundamental of the thing. And there I was literally about to sweep select again, which would have been very silly. I'm just trying to decide precisely. It wouldn't have done quite as much damage this time, because I don't think there's anything on the other side of this. No, because I haven't done that front plate. But it is still like, there's still an element of, my God, man, you cannot learn, apparently. Which is unfortunately true. Truer than I would like it to be. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. Unless that new trick is sleeping on the sofa. In which case, I actually find it surprisingly difficult. I'm not one for falling asleep in front of the TV unless really fucking tired. Like, as in super duper supremely tired. Because I fear I have a sort of a disgust of falling asleep in front of the TV because I can't stand it. So it's like, no, I have to stay awake, no matter the consequences. No. And it's the benefit of being fueled by hatred, I think. When you start hating yourself, it's a self-burning fuel. It's magnificent. It's not. Try not to do that, children. Try not to do that. I don't think there's any children watching, which is probably beneficial because there's a lot of swearing. Oops. I do wonder if it would have been easier to start from the other side and work my way back in, but never mind. I think we'll be okay. Especially sort of start matching the curve of the other side, really, as best I can. It's not. Oh, that was one. Okay. Let's try. I just don't like the positioning of that. It looks sloppy. It doesn't make any difference. It's just I don't like it. That other leg is really getting me fucking way at this point. God damn it. I could try and eradicate that other leg, mask it off and get rid of it, but I'm just being a little bit lazy and trying to avoid doing so by. There we go. No, that's still not quite gonna. It's gonna lead to a very sort of awkwardly thin geometry at the top there, but I think at this point we may have to just go with. How many bits? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, revolve that. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's try and just futz about with it enough to get it to go in something and then just figure it out in a moment or two. Because we want this to be our final piece of geometry, otherwise it's more than 5 at the back, at the top. That's something. Wrong. I taught my 12-year-old dog lots of new tricks, but he is strongly food motivated. Always a good sign. In fairness, I'm usually strongly food motivated as well. Which is not great news, because the problem is, the big problem, of course, is when I feel a bit, I don't feel like doing much anymore, I lean towards the idea of going, I'll have some food, cheer me up. And then, of course, the secondary problem there is when I'm feeling quite happy, I think, oh, yeah, do you know what? Treat myself to a bit of cake. And then it's just this constant sort of, oh, I feel sad, cake. Oh, I feel happy, cake. Oh, I feel sad, cake. There's never a bad day for cake, which is not hugely healthy. But to some extent, sometimes I stop caring. But there you go. Get your SO to reward you with chocolate. SO. Something operator, isn't it? I can't quite remember what the S stands for now. Shitty operator. Depends on your true thoughts of the operator, I suppose. You shitty operator. Again, it's sort of, how do I want to interpret some of these lines? So this line here, I think, interpret full gap, whereas this side line, that top one I've interpreted as full gap, but I think this one I interpret as not gap. So I think we'll go with that idea. Whereas I think this can be full gap as well. I think that can be full indent. So leave that where it is and then apply the extra geometry on top of that piece. But I think the easiest thing to perhaps do right now is to just get in here and deal with the next plate that I'm working on, which I think is going to be this one. We might as well try and sort of match it up. Oh, significant other or superior officer. That's probably the one I was thinking of. Yeah, I was thinking of superior officer. But yeah, significant other makes more sense. In a non-military sense, at least. Drag this down, and I mean, basically, I'm afraid it really is just the same thing over and over again. This is where the slightly tedious factor comes in, because it really is. And you may be thinking, is there a possibility of mirroring? It's a possibility, but truth be told, by the time I futz about trying to get the exact angle and then everything else, and then trying to sort of then move every point anyway to get it to snap to the outer shell, the answer is no, not really. There is, I suppose, an argument. Could you have put the armor plating on, then posed it? Yes and no. Yes, because then theoretically the armor would follow the bones, but then you would have to fiddle about getting it to follow the bones. So there's pros and cons of all the methods. At the moment, I'm going to stand by the fact that this is perhaps the easiest option. Slow, tiresome, but without doubt easiest. Just trying to get that sort of, see if I can get the line, because obviously I'm leaving slightly more of a gap than the gap they've got there, which means I want it to try and line up with the other one. But if I have to fiddle around checking it over all over the place, you have to do it off as well, so it's not going to make too much difference. There. General Batman. Yes, I did see your message, by the way. If that wasn't obvious from the statement, General Batman. I don't think Batman's a general, but still. Welcome from down the high street. I take it you are going to your local. What cinema is it you've got? Although I don't know, that might be too much. That might be too much information, so you don't have to reveal that to strangers on the internet. But is yours a Cineworld or an Odeon or something else entirely? Again, if it's too specific, don't specify, obviously. But if it is a generic brand cinema, I don't know why I care. I'm just curious. That happens a lot, in fairness. I don't know why I care. Just, fuck it. I'm intrigued. There is knocking. Knocking at heaven's door. Not at the moment. We're not knocking at heaven's door at the moment. Odeon, nice-ish. I haven't been to the Odeon in years. I haven't been to the cinema in years, in fairness. I didn't go to the cinema all that often before lockdown, and then lockdown hit, and now I go to the cinema. I still haven't been to the cinema in quite some time. So there you go. But when I do go to the cinema, I tend to. It's a little bit further out for me, but I tend to go to Cineworld. I won't specify precisely which Cineworld, but not that I think you're necessarily trying to track me down. But I don't know. I'm still slightly wary of dishing out too much information randomly over the internet, but still, again, doesn't really make that much difference. But nonetheless, I do go slightly further afield. There is a sort of local Odeon, but I pop down to Cineworld because, at least at one point in time, whether that's necessarily true nowadays or not, I'm not sure. But at least once upon a time, it was ever so slightly more. Good Lord, it was quite loud. It was just that touch more, touch nicer cinema. There you go. Now the dog is off against the door. It's good practice. Did someone say dog? Someone did say dog. Have you got a dog sticker? I don't think there's a dog sticker, is there? Okay, so we just sort of. What I think we want to do is maybe interesting. Yeah, the way I did it that side was a little bit sloppy, and possibly a better way of doing it would be the way I could do it, but no. We'll continue with the slightly sloppy method of doing this, because the sides might as well match. Even if the sides are sloppy, they might as well match and be sloppy instead of be mismatch and sloppy. I think mismatch will look even sloppier than sloppiness. Mewtwo. That's one I kind of hope they do another film of. I don't know. I don't think I've heard any plans they're doing another one, but kind of hope they do. The Detective Pikachu film. I was thinking of Mewtwo, that's why that sprang to mind. But yeah, it was a really good film. Really good film. Tell you another one I just recently watched that turned out to be really good was Spider-Man No Way Home. I finally got round to watching it, and it was about as good as people have said it was. It was very enjoyable. From Wizarding Rhino, catch you all later. Enjoy the Batman. I must admit, that's one I think it might actually be quite good, but it's always difficult to tell. But they've gone a bit darker, and I don't know if it's necessary. It feels a slightly unnecessary film to go back to Batman quite so soon. But nonetheless, I do sort of look forward to the idea of having a pop at Batman and enjoying another film, because although it does seem a little bit too soon, I like Batman, so I can't deny I'm probably still going to watch it and enjoy it. Whoops. Just in case, I'm going to undo that. In fact, let's undo until the point where I'm confirmed. Yeah, okay. I pushed Y too early. Y is the separate button for anybody interested or curious, I suppose. That's how I'm selecting sort of a plane that's attached there, and then I separate it off by that selection, and it allows me to separate this. Now, how best to do this? Oh, one wonders. Yeah, I think it probably is going to be easiest to just sort of follow this curve with this geometry, and then once we hit the bottom, we start sort of possibly going straight, question mark. It's getting more and more difficult, the idea of being able to sort of take it to go straight. Not 100% sure. That was the optimal method. No, in fact, I think I feel like the optimal method. Don't know. I did wonder. Need to go back to gently rubbing the tip against the body of my miniatures. Brush tip, that is, but I'm lazy. That's fair. It's very good. It's very good to rub the old tip against the miniature, but it does take quite a lot of time. I know that because I've been doing my Doctor Strange recently. Doctor Strange ways. And I've also just before I started this, I'd base coated a load of stuff as well. So I've got even more stuff I want to paint. So it'll be interesting to see whether I can get any of that done in a tolerable fashion. I'm slightly tempted to do Taskmaster next because he hasn't got a face. He's got another skull. I did quite well with a skull on Ghost Rider, but oops, not exactly what I was after, but there you go. All works out okay in the end. Still not overly enamoured with this, with going downwards rather than going sidewards now either, but still, no desire of being rich, but that's a luxury I wouldn't mind. What, some kind of maid to do your laundry? I must admit that would be very pleasant. Although having said that, that's just, I can't deny that's super laziness on my part. It's not difficult doing the laundry, because it's throw it in the fucking machine and there we go, done. But there you go. It's the same with most of the things I've got, I suppose. Most things I have end up very much being throw it in a machine and the machine does it, but I'm too lazy to do the throw it in the machine part, which is quite bad indeed. So things tend to sort of stack up and then I have to do a lot of throwing it in the machine, which I must admit I do slightly prefer, because I prefer letting it stack up whilst doing other things. But there you go. So the hanging it up for drying. Oh yeah, now see, I must admit, there's not a huge amount of washing whenever I do my washing, so the hanging it up's not too bad. I've got just like a, I don't know if it, I don't think it would necessarily be called a system, but it's always the same little sort of, it's the same drying rack and the same clothes every time. So it's like, yep, I will just use all of those. Do I feel that maybe if I drop that, nah. No, at this point we definitely do want that one included, I think. We've gone down to an end point there, so I could possibly struggling to figure out quite quite the best way of doing this. I mean, strictly speaking, I could probably just keep shrinking all the points together, but I feel like at this point, yeah, could be worthwhile. I could probably run, yeah, what I can do is we'll match all of these up here, and I'll run a edge loop in the middle of that area, just to, that's it, just to then separate the geometry a bit more. Yeah, okay, there you go. Sometimes there's the benefit of just stumbling along, hoping for the best as you go, because sometimes you work out the best way, and it just sort of happens. So that's all right. Let's now, I suppose, possibly, I suppose actually I suggested I didn't want that to be a gap, so we want to carry on with this one around the outside. So what we want to do is go to there. All I wanted to do was try and make it sort of slightly tighter geometry by doing that. Now, Yeah, I think carrying on like that is going to. Whoops. If you're in one of the, I didn't even mean to do it that time. If say you've gone G for moving stuff around, and you realise you don't want to move that around after all, right clicking will get you out of it. Now, unfortunately, I have hands that don't like doing what they're told a lot of the time, and they like to just sort of reinterpret what it is I'm asking them to do, and therefore what they tend to do is go, I'll right click now, should I? And the answer is no, you're not supposed to be right clicking now, please stop, don't do that. But unfortunately the hands tend to just go, no, I've right clicked now. That's what you wanted, huh? You wanted me to right click. And it's like, no, I did not want you to right click, you fucking bastard. But there you go. They don't often do what they're told. I find that with painting as well, unfortunately. Delicate. Oh, you fucking dickhead hands. That was not delicate. But there you go. I'm leaving home for 2 weeks. I'm going to have to... Yes, I would possibly say that. And I'm just thinking of a Hancock sketch. Cancel the milk, cancel the papers. Debbie Hands is not a democracy. Unfortunately, I fear I've left them. I've given them too much rope, essentially. And so they've now got, they've had their way too long, I fear. All the way? Yeah. I think it might be okay to do all the way. I don't think that was necessarily an effective way of doing it, but so. Spread them out a bit more and it should work out reasonably well, I think. Yeah, and then let's try and sort of get this one just a little more central to everything. Oops. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to make that much difference, but it doesn't make that much difference if they're sort of slightly peculiar, but if you can make them fairly square, it just makes for smoother geometry, and I think smoother geometry makes for an easier time, essentially. And it's good practice, really, to try and get the geometry as smooth as possible. Because as much as I said, I don't know if I could do this as a career. I mean, in fairness, throughout my entire teens, the plan was to do this as a career, but never quite panned out. But whenever the opportunity to practice comes up, I like to try and take it sometimes. But then again, I've been practicing for 10 years and gotten nowhere, so it's not exactly a hugely important thing to practice clean geometry, but I don't know. I like to do it just as a general rule. Makes me feel happy when it's tidier. Of course, as a secondary general rule, just to really fuck up the first notion. A little bit further back, I think, in fairness. Similar issue with neurotransmitters. Oh dear, that doesn't sound great. I don't fully understand it, but it doesn't sound great all the same. You don't have to understand things to realise they don't sound like the best of their times. I might have a cheeky little save, cheeky little look round. Whoops. Don't know what happened there. I think I let go of the camera control whilst off the screen. So I ended up not doing a very good job of it. But there you go. Right, so. Decisions. Sort of approach from this side and go back round. or approach from this angle again. I think probably, yeah, probably best to approach from that angle again because it was the easiest way of doing it. Or it lent itself to doing it. Although obviously, technically speaking, armour plates like this wouldn't quite be able to manipulate themselves in the same way as I've manipulated them, but they'd have a bit more sort of I can't go there sort of deal, I think. Whereas I'm just sort of putting them wherever I like, going with it. But still, there is an element of fiction to Rhino's armour, of course. So shouldn't make too much difference if the armour plates don't quite look right. This is a nice day. No, there is danger. No, it's all good. We all die. Issue full emergency protocol now. Yeah, I know someone else who's had bits and bobs like that in the past. I think his one's a little bit more specifically agoraphobia. I think it's the sort of fear of going outside. Which is, of course, very, very awkward. Because most things, in fairness, are outside. Don't get me wrong, I don't particularly go outside that often, but when things I require are outside, it's convenient to be able to just go, yep, there we go, sorted. And that gets the job done. But sometimes it does prove a little bit awkward. Well, I imagine it would if I was Agora. As I say, I can't remember if it's Agora or Aggro. I must admit, I'm probably agrophobic, yeah. As in, I don't want to hear any of your fucking aggro. I don't want any of the aggro of doing things. But that's because, again, I refer you back to the laziness. How many points did I leave that side? 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was 5. But it would have been 4 in the first place, so I possibly want to make that a little higher. Yeah, that whole segment can perhaps go a little bit higher. I'm basically trying to replicate what I did on the other side, just for this side. And again, I know that there may be some kind of mirroring that would work, but I don't. A, I'm not convinced because of the shaping, and B, I'm not sure there is one. But as I say, I'd be open to finding out, because there are a lot of weird and wonderful techniques that I watched this fella. I think the channel is called YouTube Blender Secrets. Even the YouTube channel is called Blender Secrets, and I think the bloke in charge of that is called Jan, or possibly Yan. And I did know a person called Yan at one point, so maybe it's meant to be pronounced Yan with the sort of, I don't know what you call it, the YJ. I don't know. I don't know its official term, but still. So what do we do here? We did go quite close to the line on that one, didn't we? Again, not that it has to be 100% identical, but it's going to help making it as close as possible. And then we did a cheeky little edge loop. And that's how we got another piece of junky armour. Now we want to once again, whoops, no, okay, if in doubt, click in the middle of the map, or middle of the screen, and then go back to what you were doing. If there's any doubt in your mind that it's not worked, just just completely refresh. Just take a step back, refresh it all, and just go meh. Control R. Control R is the edge loops. So if you've got smooth geometry like this, i.e. all quads, what you can do is you can run an extra edge loop through it. So basically you can then, if I really want it tight there, I can push it tight there, and sort of in the middle. If you literally want it in the middle, you just right click and it pops it in the middle. Obviously I don't want one there, but yeah, it's added edge loops. So where I dragged that quite a lengthy one, I wanted to just split those down a little bit more. It's quite useful if you're working with some of the smoothness. You can sort of really tighten the smoothness. I think I explained this the other week, but you can see sort of that edge is fairly sort of meh. It's all right. It's quite rounded, whereas this edge now is super tight. It's still rounded, but it is super tight. And you can see where I undo that piece of geometry and tab out, and again, it's gone a lot looser. So it's useful for stuff like that with the subsurface, because the subsurface will just smooth everything. If you don't want it smoothed, or if you don't want everything smoothed, you can sort of almost unsmooth things with extra geometry. And I think you're better off doing it that way than most other ways, because there is something called creasing you can do as well, which gets you the same effect. But I'm led to believe, this I must admit, a lot of these methods feel almost like when you have to deal with CVs. There's 1,001 different ways that 1,001 different people will tell you they're supposed to be done. So you just have to take a lot of it with a pinch of salt, I think, really, but still. Start getting that at a slightly steeper angle if I'm going to try and sort of straighten it up later, but still, for now, I think we're okay-ish. And yeah, that's where I used the scale last time on it. I'm coming down off of this point. Ended up getting a bit close together there, but I'm trying. Basically, I'm trying to make that line there parallel with my geometry line, which is proving surprisingly difficult to do. But still. Surprisingly difficult with the rest of the geometry I've got, but still, that's where you change the rest of the geometry, I suppose. Embrace the idea of making the geometry as clean as possible. You did it on the other side. Now I'm just giving myself a pep talk, it would seem. Which I suppose, whatever needs to be done to get the job finished. Do 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 do. Ding 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 ding. Don't worry about that right now, in fact, because we'll pop that there. And much like last time, we'll just try and sort of I'm only really worried about doing it by eye, but we'll at least try and sort of science of the eye and instinct is acceptable enough for these purposes, but channel does look like it's sort of flows reasonably well. And with the Control R thing about tightening up some of these, I might consider it at some point. At the moment, I'm kind of okay with what we've got, but at some stage, I might consider. Just slightly curious. Yeah, it does sort of bow out a little bit more than I feel it wants to. Yeah. It's only a subtle change, but it makes me feel better. And sometimes that's all you can hope for. All you can hope for is making yourself feel better with some of these. Right, well, let's have a think. Might do that front plate. And then we'll have to make a decision. I think I do want to do that top plate, but it's going to be a very thin plate. Which does make me wonder. Might be beneficial. Because at the moment we've got a thickness of 1 metre on this solidifier. And you may be thinking 1 metre? Surely not on a miniature. But you've got to think of that as 1 millimetre in terms of miniatures, because of the way Blender's units, when it goes, it's quite complicated. Basically, just look at numbers and think millimetres. That's the easiest thing. No, I don't know. It's not that complicated, but it is a slightly weird system where it's like, okay, so Blender technically, despite showing it in meters there, what Blender technically does is it measures in Blender units. Now you may be thinking, what's a Blender unit then? Well, a Blender unit's about 1 metre. That's why it works like that. However, in the back end of the machines, a unit is not necessarily always dealt with in the same fashion. So Blender units register as 1 metre to Blender. So anything you bring in that has a units-based measurement in Blender, it will interpret as, okay, so what you've got there, what you're asking me to do, is 1 metre. However, and I found out this the hard way when trying to do one of my earliest 3D projects, stuff like Chitterbox, and possibly other slicers, I don't know for certain, but certainly I know Chitterbox, what that does is that goes, I measure in units. Ah, so what are your units? My units are millimetres. But in my back processing, in my back passage, no, you just had to say, I just had to say, I couldn't help myself. But in the background, in the back processing, it just thinks of it as units. So when Blender rocks up and goes, hi, yeah, I've got this many units, and Chitterbox goes, yes, I work in units, Blender's like, oh yeah, but my units are meters, but you just said it was units. I'm making it a lot more complicated. Basically, the simplest way, the programs work in units. Blender's units are 1 metre. Chitterbox's units are millimetres. So if you try and make something millimetres in Blender, it will be super fucking tiny in Chitterbox. And that sounds like Blender to Lychee. That sounds like it's a similar issue. Possibly even more so. 100,000 is a lot. I think Blender, if you scale it up by 1,000 when you export, that suits Blender to Chitterbox. 100,000 sounds like it's a lot. In fact, is that 100? Yeah, that is 100. No. Yeah, no. Yeah. I can't read numbers. I don't know. Yes, no, it's 100,000, isn't it? I don't know what happened there, but my brain just refused to read numbers for a moment or two, which is about as alarming as it sounds. I think we'll run free along here. And you may be thinking, are you not missing out that that sort of jutting out base? I am, but there is a plan with regards to dealing with it. And I will show that plan in a moment. And then here, do you sort of want to... that plan might not work as well as I was hoping it would, but is hoping we can get at least something. Again, sometimes just following your instincts and hoping for the best will work out. Other times, in no way, shape or form. But yeah, that's essentially what you've found, again, is likely because Lai Chi is going, I work in units. What are your units? Possibly even lower than Chitterbox. But then, of course, you do have Blender going, I work in units. What are your units? Meters. Excellent. And then, you know, the rest of them going, I work in units. What units? Oh, all different units. Right, anyway, let's deal with this section here, which basically I'm just choosing select points to then drag out. So rather than selecting the entire bar, I can just select these small selection of points, and that will drag those out and extrude those nicely. But yeah, it's a slightly awkward system that doesn't necessarily flow well in the brain, but I've discovered, oddly enough, through through someone's lack of understanding, and simply, you know, for being new to it, I think it was Can't Sleep. His lack of my sort of trying to understand something I didn't need to understand. Yes, STL only understands units. Yeah, that's the key thing. That is the key thing. So Blender says to the STL, this is this many units, but Blender thinks those units are a meter. Chitterbox, STL comes in, goes, I've got this many units. Chitterbox goes, well, my units are millimeters. Yeah, I don't care, mate. Just units, mate. I'm just doing units here, son. I'm not giving a shit about anything else. Just units, mate. Which is where the problem comes from. But that's where, as I say, that's where the sort of the newer lack of knowledge from Can't Sleep when he was fiddling with Blender suddenly made me realise, oh, I see. I can just work in meters in Blender and it works then. Because he just went, all right, so I want it 55 or 40 something or 30. I think he was working on one of those bases, so I think it was something like 40 he was after. So I want the diameter to be 40, and he just keyed in 40, and I was like, yeah, except that's going to be like, that's now 40 meters, but I can't keep explaining everything via text. And then he popped it in Chitterbox, and it was like the right size, and I was like, what? I don't understand. What? And it was at that point it dawned on me that I'd completely I'd been overcomplicating it, is the key thing. I could have very easily just gone, oh well, I could have just left it as simplistic. I want you to be like this, Blender. I just want to, just work in regular numbers in Blender. Instead of what I was doing, which was vastly overcomplicating it by trying to sort of go, right, I'm going to work in millimeters on Blender, and now I want to make sure that because I'm working in millimeters, I have to remember to scale the STL up by 1000% every single time. So now what I've started doing is exactly what I'm doing here, which is basically working in meters, which is so much easier because you just look at it and go, numbers. Ignore the scale, ignore the sort of measurement, ignore the meters completely. You just look at it as numbers, which is hugely beneficial. So if you ever need to sort of measure something in, specific, say like a base, you measure it and you go and you look at your ruler and you just go 50, and at that point you go, yep, and you carry on and you don't worry about anything else. And as I say, it's proven very beneficial to do that. I think I suppose we could just, actually that would work. We'll just run it along the side here. And then, slightly awkward. Yes. No, I might need to. Oh no, that's going to get complicated. Just work. just do it. Fuck it. Don't think, just do. Don't think, just do. Sometimes the easiest method. Because I've got it sinking into the rear geometry, I was umming and ahhing about whether I should figure out a way of not having it do that. And then I decided, no, fuck it, let's just go. Go, 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 go. Because I thought it might make it slightly easier not to have it sinking into the geometry, but as I say, sometimes it is better to just do than think. But there we go. And now, slightly awkward, yes. Although having said that, they are automatically selected there, which is good news. So the reason why I had to move them was so that they'd snap, because otherwise they would happily just sit beneath the geometry, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted them sitting on top of the geometry, and they don't automatically snap to the geometry just because they've been created. Therefore, you do sometimes have to sort of add an extra step to what you're doing. And again, I do wonder if it would be easier just to do roughly the same idea, but might better do it a bit more controlled this time, and because I need them to start doing a bit more of a curvature. So I need at least a couple to start lining up with. Yeah, so this one wants to line up with the kind of kick out that's there. We can, whoops, dang it all, stop pushing F. We can't help it. We Luke's pushing F. I don't like pushing F, by the way. I think at this point we'll do the crossover there. Problem is, if you're unaware, and you can probably look at a keyboard in front of you if you were unaware, but the F key is next to the E key, and unfortunately in Blender the E key and the F key do very different things, and you do not want the F key while dealing with this sort of thing. The F key is very useful in places, just not right now. Is the key issue, not right now. If you're interested, F is fill, which is why sometimes you get extra geometry on these points that I don't want, because I've accidentally filled a gap in between that I didn't want to fill. As I say, it's going to be quite frustrating when you're working on these things, and it's like, why has this gone horribly wrong? Oh, it's because I've accidentally filled a plane that I didn't want to be filled. Oh, it's not. It is next to the G key. Sorry, not next to the. Did I say? I don't know whether I said it was next to the E key or the G key, but it's next to the key I keep using, which is mostly G. So there you go. It is one of the few I know because mostly cut models apart. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you'd need filling for that, I imagine, because then you'd want to fill in the gaps you've created cutting them up. Right, okay, so theoretically now we just want to, oops, again, sometimes it's easier if you're unsure precisely what's been selected and not selected, just unselect it all and go from there. And if you literally just click in mid-space, it will deselect anything you've got selected. And as I say, sometimes if you've been clicking and it's not been selecting, and you're slightly concerned, like I was there, that you've selected something you didn't want to select, it's easier to just go, alright, leave it, and start from scratch. So theoretically, yeah, that don't look terrible. I wouldn't necessarily claim it looked good, but it don't look terrible. I think one of the key things is I might want some extra geometry to tighten that up. So if you look, I'm only going to do this as a quick example now because I'll probably try and do it a little bit more scientifically, but you can see there it has sort of slightly, nowhere near as much as I was thinking it was going to, but maybe that's because I need to do that one as well. There you go. Yeah, that's slightly tightened it up. Again, I think I am going to undo those because I'll keep the geometry as simple as possible. That's always something I keep failing at miserably. You want to keep your geometry as simple as possible for as long as possible, which is why I do quite like having learnt a lot more about this modifier stack and being able to sort of layer up things. Because technically speaking, in terms of geometry, these are not thick. And yet, I'm sorry, did you just say they weren't thick? Yeah, these are not thick. None of this exists. Technically. But also technically it does exist. But yeah, you can see if I turn off solidify, you can see that is the geometry that actually exists. And then you add solidify, and lo and behold, magically, you get more geometry. But the geometry doesn't exist, which means you've kept your geometry very low until you apply that solidify, and then it will exist. But yeah, that's kind of what you want to do. That is basically the idea, and that's why I quite like having learnt some of this sort of solidify stuff, because it keeps your geometry really low-ish. I still think I use a lot more geometry than is necessary, but I'm getting better, I suppose, and that's sometimes what you want. So, I mean, in terms of the armour for the foot, I think what we want to do is do a wrap round plate at the bottom there, wrap round there, wrap round there. Might ignore that hole, I don't know. We shall see. It wouldn't be impossible to do that hole, but that would leave that very, very thin. And one single hole there, is it worthwhile? I could move it more into the middle if I wanted a hole, but it feels like it's a bit of a random hole, so I might just leave it alone, to be honest. But yeah, a wrap-round plate at the bottom and a wrap-round plate at the top, and maybe do I want something in there? Possibly, I don't know. I'd possibly want to try and do that wrap-round plate first and then decide if something wants to go in there. Because again, what I could do is, because this is got the solidify, I can change its thickness. Now the benefit of that is what I could do is I could build this plate here, and possibly what I'm going to do potentially with this top plate is I'll separate it off and lower the thickness of that top plate whilst keeping the main plates at that 1 metre mark. And I think that will theoretically look okay. It's difficult to know. It's what I did with Hela. I had I had thick armour, thin armour, and basically I was able to just change the levels of thickness in that armour. And I think it looked okay in the end. But yeah, and then we probably shouldn't look at the rest of the model, because then you realise, oh good lord, you've got an arm piece, a shoulder piece. Well, having said that, the shoulder piece maybe. No, I still think even with some of these pieces that are already a little bit thick, I do feel like even more thickness I think will work. So a greater amount of thickness on that shoulder pad, a greater amount of thickness on that band, a greater amount of thickness on this area here. Just to really sort of emphasise the plates and the thickness. And then figure out that bit. Because of the way that bit goes, I think that's going to be better done. I don't think my solidify plates will work as well as I would like them to there. So I think to get that shaping, I think that's going to be full on sort of... Well, having said that, yeah, No, a solidified plane might work. I don't know, but I might want to extrude it more manually than solidify. But I think that's about all the Blender. I feel like I've been doing it an hour and a half and gotten relatively far. It's a tolerable amount. But we'll leave Blender now. But I don't think. Yeah, I fear it is just me and the old Zane, and I fear that's not enough. Not enough players for anything substantial. So I suppose I could make a decision. What that decision is, I don't know. But let's have a look at these things. These things here. All over. What we got? Ooh, interesting. Potion craft. It's interesting to me. Might not be interesting to anybody else, but it's interesting to me. Potion craft has had its haggling minigame reworked. It's a work in progress at the moment, but yeah, they've apparently reworked their haggling minigame. It looks reasonably similar, which is probably good because I think their haggling minigame was actually quite pleasant. It was, it felt nice in there. But yeah, it's just one of those things, I suppose, isn't it? Do. I'm now just having a look around to see if I fancy doing anything specific or doing something random or nothing at all. Because I do not know. Dear. Come on, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. No. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. No, don't be a dick. Don't be. Oops, that's not the file I was looking for. That's the file I was looking for. That's the file I was looking for. So I do technically have those. Yeah. Just not convinced it will work. Which I suppose arguably, if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does. It wouldn't make that much difference. Did we set that up? Yes. So that's set up, that's set up. Do I have a background? A blank screen image? Yes, I do. Okay. Cool. Okay, well, fuck it. Let's build it and see what happens. And then if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. It don't matter. Image. Oh, Mr. Legendary Phoenixiness. You were trying to post a link. Are you a bot? Because if you are, you've had your little botty spanked by Nightbot. And you don't want that. If you are a human, do feel free to shout and go, oh, I wanted to share something excellent. But obviously if you're a bot, you've probably already fucked off, which is fair. Is that the right one? Yeah, no, that's the right one. Yeah, excellent. We want the Mark III, which still doesn't actually include everybody. I'd need a Mark fucking 4, 5, 6, 7 or something by this point in time, but still. We're just doing a little bit of the do-do-do's. And if you enjoy the do-do-do's, then you've got some massive doo-doo-doos? Or would you enjoy the doo-doo-doos with a doo-dee-doo? And that should do nicely. It's close enough. I don't think that was the 10 I was supposed to be counting to, but never mind. Pop that in there. Yeah, it's probably want to do a new one, I think. So grab that. This is why I tend to do this before. Why I do it before I start. Let's start. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sufficient, I think. No, it's a bit of a shame I don't remember the measurements, but still, I suppose let's just guess, I suppose. Much thinner. Possibly too thin. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little bit. Possibly go. Okay, apparently you decided to ignore my controls. It's fine, I suppose. Yeah. Not quite going to be perfect, but I must admit, let's go down a little bit further. Possibly a little bit further still. No, that's the wrong digit. We pushed the wrong digit. Whoops, no, that's not what we wanted. No, again, stop doing things wrong. There we go, and then a little extra sizing there. Shouldn't make too much difference. Excellent. And now, yeah, we can remove that. Superb. Lock that down. Yeah, no, I think I do want those on the bottom. Those. Excellent. No, those, yes. Pop that in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is there a reason you're counting to 10 4 times? There is. I'm positioning something. Is that really the most efficient way of positioning something? No, not in the slightest. But it's memorable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if it's memorable, it means you can do it every time you need to do it. You do that every time. Good God, man. Is the screen on purpose? You're going to have to help me out. What is the screen? Oh, I had existing. That's why you're refusing to allow me to do it. If you're referring to is the current Avengers screen on purpose, yes. I'm building an Avengers screen. Well, I'm rebuilding it. I think you might be on the wrong screen. Interesting. No, I think I'm on... I don't know now. Is it on the Avengers? Because if it's on Avengers, that's the correct screen. I have moved over to a different thing at the moment. because I've exited Blender and I'm considering differing things. You've got an announcement? Go for it. What is your announcement? I want the overlay in the overlay box as well. Excellent, there we go. Superb. We think that's worked. Now, of course, I'm going to find out the game doesn't like working, which is fine. We sort of already know. Oh, it's your birthday, and a birthday stream. Spectacular. Happy birthday. I haven't got anything for you, but happy birthday all the same. Well done. Well done. I can't help it. Whenever there's a birthday, I'll get really sarcastic. But yeah, and the idea of well done, congratulations, you've reached another year of life. Well done. Sounds even worse. But I reiterate, I can't help it. I think it's because I find my own birthday to be a sort of a void of black hole misery. Although granted, this year was surprisingly good because I went and played Marvel Crisis Protocol and wound up getting Hood and Dr. Voodoo. And it turns out they're really bloody good. They were really quite entertaining characters to use for old Hood and Voodoo. Who do your voodoo, bitch? Well, not you. You called me a bitch. I'm not going to pay you to do me voodoo now. You've called me a bitch, am I? Could have been nicer about it, couldn't you, mate? If you'd have just not called me a bitch, I would have happily had you do my voodoo, but you came in here and you go, "Who do your voodoo, bitch?" And I was like, no, I don't need to be called a bitch. I don't like being called a bitch. But yes, happy birthday is the crucial message. The rest was entirely rambling nonsense, but happy birthday is very much the crucial thing to get through and get past there. So we'll try. Oh, that's the scaling. Oh, what? Oh no, maybe that is what. Weird numbers, but fine. We'll go with what you've offered me, I suppose. I think we'll probably have to have it that, but then theoretically we can sort of, I suppose arguably, let's go just accept the fact that it's probably going to have to go low. Shadows, level of detail, yeah, that should be fine. VFX, yeah, that should be fine. Enhance nothing, please. Don't enhance anything, sir. And then, yeah, again, we might be able to change some of those whilst in the game. We'll see what happens. But this is one of those ones where sometimes plays okay, sometimes does not play well okay. But we'll see what happens. For several things, of course, there may be a sort of situation where it has been rejiggered slightly. New drivers, new everything, really. So you never know. It's more. It's one of those ones where it works for me when I'm by myself upon the computer, but it doesn't like doing streaming things. Now, at the moment, you can't see it, but that's, I'm aware that it cannot be seen at this point. We will try and sort that out in a moment or two. It's very much a sort of one problem at a time situation. The other situation we wanted to try was that's the one. Update the old. Update that, and now add that, and now gather the capture. And we shall see if the Avenger bus is coming. The Avenger bus is coming from here till San Francisco. I must admit, I can hear the fans. You can probably hear the fans as well, in fairness, but I can hear the fans getting slightly agitated by the idea of doing this, which is never a great sign, but still. actually, I'm going to need to... Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's about right, but I might be mistaken. No, okay, no, fine. Be like that. The snapping is a little bit annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It will suffice like that. Difficult to tell at this sort of sizing, but something like that should be. The overlay does cut into it, but the overlay was always designed to cut into it. I'll push the A key. I must admit, I may end up ruining it by testing a theory, so that's gonna readjust all the sizings a second time anyway. Oh well. Never mind. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Nothing ever matters. If you believe hard enough, you can believe that nothing ever matters. We shall carry on loading. Oh. It's not happy. It's not happy. I don't know why. I suppose it's because it's a very heavy game. Oh, lovely. I'll deal with that later. A free item, yes please. I'll always claim free items, thank you. Uncommon. Oh no, wait, I pushed a button. Oh, there we go. I shall claim my uncommon consumables. Thank you very much. And there's lots of other Hawkeye costumes, legendary outfits, exotic outfits. That's when he goes down the club. And then, right, so... yeah, I've never even touched Black Panther in this. I know nothing of Black Panther in this one. Was there not an options? Maybe we need to go in the game. I'm just going to do some kind of random mission of some kind. See if it does or doesn't work. We shall see. Because I think I got partway through Hawkeye's mission and then just sort of drifted away from this one. Which is a bit of a shame. Because it is quite a fun game. It's just... it's got problems. It's got problems. But as I say, the fundamental gameplay can be quite entertaining. But the unfortunate thing is they pushed it a little bit as a multiplayer game. And then there wasn't really enough people to actually multiplayer it. And that, of course, surprising literally no one, is a bit of an issue. Because if it's like, yeah, no, multiplayer, yeah, multiplayer, there's nobody ever on it. Nobody ever on it. I can't get a game in. Oh. But multiplayer, there's nobody to play it with. Yeah. So it's very difficult. But still. The storyline, the initial storyline with Kamar Khan there was absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant story. Very enjoyable. But then you sort of got the surrounding bits and it was like, I don't think I care anymore. But then again, I think the War for Wakanda is supposed to have added a lot of extra bits and bobs. So I should really try and get back into it, but I don't know if today is going to be that day, considering quite how long this load is taking. Kind of suggesting that it's working as well as it did previously. Oh, hello. Oh, have I ballsed it up? I may have ballsed it up. Am I doing the fucking story mode? I suppose arguably it don't make much difference, but it does look a bit like I'm doing the story mode, doesn't it?
What if the Avengers were set up? Okay. Tarleton, AIM, this so-called cure. It's just not lining up. There's something wrong and I can feel it. Don't you? You're Dr. Bruce Banner. You're one of the greatest minds of our time.
Greatest minds?
I mean, this is interesting, because this doesn't even seem to be... It doesn't feel like it's the beginning of the game, but it equally doesn't feel like it's the point where I would have left off a save file of the game. So I suppose, is this just a recap?
I have the utmost confidence in Dr. Rappaccini's abilities.
Or maybe it's just a recap.
Wait, please, no, don't!
Imprisonment and torture. That's how AIM's gonna make the world a better place.
Seeing this game for the first
Saving
time.
the world
Ah,
requires sacrifice.
it is a good game.
How long
At its
have I
core.
been your lab rat?
As I've just been saying, it's a good game at its core. It's just got problems.
Make me one of them!
Okay, now I think we might be... Oh no, we've definitely seen that bit. Or I've seen this bit. There's major spoilers if you've never played the game. And I apologise loosely, because I hadn't intended to spoil it. I thought I was just going to get the Avengers map and go, yeah, cool, I'll carry on. But apparently, no. We've got all sorts. I've no idea what this cutscene is trying to prove. Especially considering the fact that I've played the game. I'm assuming this is just... Oh no, because even that is just the War for Wakanda. Which I haven't done.
This just got a whole lot weirder.
You should know. I'm not in the pressure.
If you can hear me, the convoy is transporting a highly lethal sonic disruptor bomb.
Yeah, no, this is just a general sort of... Hello, we're bolstering our own egos by showing you all this stuff.
Even if it has to end with me.
The world may look a little different from the last time we were here. But so do most of us. We helped create MODOK. And humans. AIM, Monica, that is on us. But we won't walk away from it.
Cinematics cost money, reuse as much as possible, yeah.
Head on.
It's a fair
Do
point.
right by the people we've hurt. Stop those who want to hurt others. But most of all,
We do it together.
Avengers, assemble.
As the newly elected Scientist Supreme, I will weed out the weak elements from within. Make no mistake, AIM is still the future. From cloning to time travel, the possibilities are endless. Now, let's begin.
Oh, she's still wandering around, it would seem. Right, marvellous, okay. So, as loosely suspected, it don't like it. So let's have another look into the settings and see what we can accomplish. So exclusive full screen I think we do want. Okay, so I wonder if trying to turn that off might not be a terrible decision. Maybe turn that off. I got a feeling that will bugger everything. Yes. It very much did. So no. Kind of need that to be there, or possibly to not have it exclusively full screen, but then again, exclusively full screen tends to be the better option. But it is frequently very difficult to get all of these things. Yeah, trilinear will suffice. Oh, right, okay. It is just doing it weirdly. That's fine, I suppose. Texture quality. I mean, I really don't want to go below medium for texture quality. And it shouldn't really be necessary, but there you go. I thought I told you that. Pretty certain I told you to turn that off, but I suppose I tried applying it previously and it didn't. There we go. Okay. And this one. I must admit, I wouldn't mind just general resolution scaling. Not this sort of do it if it feels it needs it. Okay. Okay, well. The element of the computer still don't sound like it's happy. But it seems to be... It seems to be running smoothly through the corridors. Running smoothly through the corridors as a man with a bow. Hey, there's a god over there. I'm a man with a bow. I can shoot the bow. I can shoot the hammer. I can... My bow has tricks. I have lightning. Okay, just gonna stay here. Just look at this map, and then maybe let a god take over. I'm being unfair to Hawkeye. I will point out I do quite like Hawkeye. I especially quite enjoyed the TV series Hawkeye. That was very enjoyable. So I mean, let's try changing hero because I think we might want to be someone else. I wouldn't necessarily say no to being Black Panther, but I've never been Black Panther, so I have no idea what to do with him. I mean, I was slightly taking the piss with the idea of just being a god, but I'm not going to lie. You know, god. Let's have a look at his costumes because I've probably got plenty. When I say plenty, I've got a few. No, character. I keep forgetting it's cursory based. Can I not change his loadout? Or is this his... Oh, this is his loadout. Okay. They've changed the UI since I last played this game, so that's always slightly awkward. I was going to say, well, we've got the hair of Thor. So we've got his iconic... Yeah, I must admit, of all of them, King Thor is perhaps one of the nicer ones. I can't deny that's quite a nice one, but I don't really want to spend my bits on outfits if I can help it. That's another nice one in fairness. I mean, I suppose arguably most of the film ones are going to be quite nice ones. Volcanic. Oh, that's sexy. It's cheeky. That's not a bad one. That looks... Yeah. Oh, that's with the destroyer arm thing. What's this one? Supernatural Avengers. Whoa! It's dark and I likes it. The red room. I think that's just because it's red. That's nice. It's quite a nice colour scheme. Glacial. Oof. That's a good texture. What's this one? This one intrigues me. Whoa! That's trippy. That is trippy as fuck. Oh, I must admit, I don't think I like that one. It's just a bit too trippy. Anyway, I'll stick with the King Thor. And yeah, I'll be Thor. And then, I mean, I'm going to say quick match. But I just don't... I don't think there'll be one in existence. Unless it's gained popularity. Because I think they were doing a sort of redux of gameplay at some point. So you never know. Maybe there is more people randomly playing it on a Sunday afternoon. I can't imagine that's true though. So we'll give it I don't know, give it a couple of minutes and see what happens. But I feel distinctly like there's just nobody playing this game. But we shall see. We shall see. And then outside of that, I'll just have to choose a random level, I suppose. You gotta search for the hero inside yourself, because unfortunately there are no heroes outside. So you've got to search for the hero inside yourself, and then you'll know that you've got a thing in me, bub. Now I'm going to get distracted looking at things on my desk. It's fine. It's not a problem. As specified I sprayed a load of miniatures earlier, so I'm just having a look at those. Slightly double checking I've got every nook and cranny, but unfortunately I fear on a couple of them I did not get every nook and cranny. The little ones are done alright. But Tut Biggun's got a few crannies that look like they've not caught the spray. Which I don't know. I suppose I could go back and respray. It's probably the best option, isn't it? Another little tickle under the crotch there. Anyway, back to seeing if there was anybody playing this game. And as I first assessed, I think the answer is no. But we shall see. I'll give it, I don't know, give it one more minute. One more minute, see if anybody's here. Give it one more minute, and then we'll leave it. Do, 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 do. Once again, I'm now just fiddling with things on my desk. Seeing what is there, and seeing what is not there, and seeing what we want to figure out. Oh, hello. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Fuck me!
Oh, oh dear, that didn't. Oh dear. I don't know. Oh, I feel like I don't know. That felt like it slowed down. Certainly the fuck me seemed to hang around a little bit longer than was entirely expected. But welcome, Mr. Can't Sleep Must Paint. I don't know why it has to be Can't Sleep Must Paint. Could be Can't Sleep Must Paint. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Can't Sleep Must Paint. There you go. If you were a boxer. Not bad for 20-second lag my end. That's fair. Oh dear. Nah, I think... Oh dear. The computer is not having fun times. I think eventually I have to accept the fact that this is not a game that can be run in conjunction with a stream. Because it don't fucking like it. It does not like it at all. Let's try it. I can't even get into the settings now. Okay. Okay, you did go to the settings, right. So let's try and find... Oh, I suppose that might have... So at the moment, yeah, okay, so let's try... I'll try popping that resolution down, because now that shouldn't screw up everything. No. That should just lower the resolution. So hopefully, maybe... I've never managed a multiplayer game of this. No. I mean, it just... I don't know whether it's their architecture or just simply nobody playing the game. I somehow suspect nobody's playing the game. Which is inconvenient to say the least, but there you go. So what are you? Forest Vault. +5 on the points, +70, +25. I don't think we want anything that difficult. And if we just drop it down to seriously easy, challenge 1. Yeah, that'll do. We'll try that. See what happens, really. I don't think it's happy. But then Hogan's not in this one. So I don't really care who my teammates are. I would like some teammates though, game. If you there we go. Good. I was gonna say. Black Panther, Hawkeye, and Hulk. Not a bad little combo. I'm being Thor. You might enjoy the fact that I'm Thor. Especially because technically they classify this outfit as King Thor. It's not quite the King Thor you had, but they do still call it King Thor. Bigger and furrier. No, Hogan, what you gonna do, brother? He's gonna have to back down and leave it alone. You love that outfit? I like that outfit as well. I think I've basically got the best outfits I like on them. Although having said that, there was a couple of nice ones that I was looking through earlier. Some reds, some crazy stuff. Oh, okay, here we go. Right, so the encoder is being overloaded. So yeah, I think I might just have to embrace the fact that this is not a stream game. Which I suppose, yeah, fine, I suppose. Sometimes you just have to accept these things, I guess. Oh dear, no, I think I crashed it. Oh no, there we go, no, okay. We didn't crash it, but I don't think I got the change I needed either. So, I'll try dropping that resolution down a little bit more, but I don't know how much difference it's making. There's like 4 King 4s over different universes. Okay, fair enough. But interestingly enough, they did have one with, he was called Unworthy Thor, and he did have the Destroyer arm. Oh good, that resolution did seem to have worked, or does seem to have worked. So whether that's going to make a difference or not, I can't remember any of these buttons, but still. There we go. I can... Woof! So you're saying the hammer pulls you off? I am. Bop. And... Oh, okay, I've activated... Oh, I see, that's a power. Right, that's fine. Oh, no, oh, sorry, Thor, I've given you beatings, but it's fine. Oh, yes, there we go. Good lad, Hulk. Good lad. You carry on. I'm gonna just pop over here and gather some bits. Yeah. Oh, you carry on, Hulk. Well done. Well done, sir. Now, is that not the button I'm looking for? Oh, it's no, that's not the button I'm looking for. Is that the button I'm looking for? Well, fuck it. That's the button I'm now looking for. Sort of lost my hammer. Oh, I lost my hammer. Oh dear, I lost my hammer. I don't know what I'm to do. Hello. Hey. Hey, boy. Hey, mate. Hey, mate. Oh, turns out I haven't lost my hammer. You sit there now. Bam, bam, bam. Ow. Don't punch me, you dick. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I think I need my hammer now. Bam. Excellent. This hammer lives there now. No, okay. Oh, yeah! Lightning. This hammer lives with me now. I require it. Ow, there's exploding things. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. There you go. You enjoy that hammer. And you can enjoy me. Oh, damn it. I didn't push the buttons in time. That's fine. I go, oh, hello! Hawkeye, that was impressive. I think that was Hawkeye. Right, right mate. You just sit there. Oh, go on then. Go for it. Bit unfair, Black Panther. He can't get up. Oh no, you went funny there, didn't you, Black? Best not call him Black. I don't think it's sensible to call him Black. Just call him Black. It was meant to just be a. There you go. You live over there now. It was just meant to be a shortening of his name, but I feel like it's oddly inappropriate. I have my hammer back, which means you now get to live elsewhere. Oh, hey! Cheeky boy. You live over there now. Ow, don't launch things at me. Punching. Whoop, hey, cheeky boy. Have a coffee, please, Black. Yeah, no, that's one of those ones. You got to be careful who you say that. Yeah, coming up white, that's it. Oh, dear. I like my hammer with me, please. Is there another boy over there? No, Hulk, you dealt with a boy? Woo! I'm just floating around. How do I unfloat? I can't remember. Oh, there we go. I mean, that'll do. It's not strictly speaking how you traditionally unfloat, but it'll do. Oh, you actually do need to sort of engage and open it up. So perfect. Excellent. Whee! Away we go. Oh shit! There's a. No, not anymore. I think they had a turret over there before. My hammer now. Woo! Oh yeah, I can fire beams, can't I? Yeah. We remember. Yeah, he can sort of float without the hammer pulling him off, and then if he wants to go turbo mode, the hammer does in fact have to pull him off. Now, I really wish there was. I swear. Maybe it's... Ah, there we go, that's the button. No, I could have sworn there was a button that told you where shit was. Oh no! Ow! Ow! He shot me out the sky. Rude. Bang! And the dirtbags have been hammered. Excellent. Yes, something about something. Well done. You! You look like you could do with a hammer. No, I don't think you could do with a hammer. Whee! Tell you what, the gyrations in this one are generous, to say the least. They are substantial. I might have to turn the vibration setting down if there is a vibration setting, because it feels like it's going to vibrate the controller to death. Now, one assumes the vibrations... Oh, shit, that's the wrong move again. Oh well, I mean, it technically got the job done. Just I've been playing too many games at the moment that have been using the basic attack on the RB button. And the PlayStation equivalent of the RB button, but essentially they're using the triggers and stuff. And so now I'm struggling with the concept of using anything other than the triggers as combat buttons. But there you go. This is all face buttons. I didn't come here to not watch people getting pulled off. I know, but there you go. See, he's been pulled off now. In fact, I'm so excited about being pulled off. Watch what happens when I get excited about being pulled off. Oh! See? He was very excited about being pulled off there. Ow. Ow! Then he just took a beating. We need to deal with this beating situation by gaining some health back. As I say, I wasn't very good at this game when it first came out. And I've not played it in quite some time, so... Lightning. 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 I don't even get near you, bitches. Lightning. Okay, I think I need my hand back. Do rapid fire hammer strikes from a distance. This is where I do slightly prefer Tony Stark, because you can just continue firing missiles. He got pulled off and took a beating, and white stuff came out and hit the other guy. Exactly. That's what you want. That's what you want from a Thor, isn't it? Oh, yay! Grab my... Oh. Nay, I didn't quite get what I wanted. Yo, I want to take you to a gay bar. So I'm going to take you to a gay bar with... Oh, that's the wrong button again. It's going to happen a lot. Oh, oh, yes. Grab him. There are benefits to doing these finisher maneuvers. Mostly you get health back. That tends to be the primary reason you want to do it. It's very good in the sort of middle of combat. You can kind of get your health back. There are methods to slightly more easily guarantee yourself getting those sort of finishing maneuvers. You basically end up having to sort of crack them down. I don't really need the speedy version now, but I do need to be slightly quick because... Yeah, Thor's not the best at this sort of... Is that sufficient? Or does it not? No, no. No, in fact, Thor is doing just really bad at dealing with this shit. Or did I do it? Or did I just generally fail? I'm not sure now. I don't know what's going on. Are you just... There we go. That worked. That worked. Excellent. Oh, I see. Oh, that one's perhaps just broken or meant to be a sort of... Oops. Again, not exactly the optimal way of getting him on the floor, but at the end of the day, whatever gets him to a stand, whatever gets him standing instead of running around will suffice. As I haven't quite figured out how to... Well, am I supposed to be doing something else? Oh yeah, apparently I am. Yes? No? Do I have? Just keep looking at it, Thor. Just keep looking at it, and maybe at some point we'll know whether we picked it up or not. Grab that health. You never know when it come in handy. And oh, there's a... Oh, I think this is the hidden entrance. Oh, in fact, yes. I can see the little doodah measuring. Oh, doing a creepy little light float. Just a creepy little light float. Oh, now I'm on the floor now. Just a creepy little light float. Looking for the entrance. Looking for the... There it is. I am allowed in here, for I am Thor. Hello.
You've discovered the location of the shield vault. Please step inside and take the elevator down.
I will. Thank you. Verily thank you. This is what I was after. I could go and do all those other extras, but I can't be bothered. I'm just going to do the vault and have a bit of fun, and then probably put it away in probably half hour. I don't know. That might be generous, actually. Depends on how long this takes, really. Can't remember how you taunt. Oh, I think I'll remember how you taunt.
Donald Blake, was it?
My alias, yes. Becoming human for a few years was rather freeing.
Luke Charles was mine when I was at school abroad.
Things we do for a bit of peace.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't really look like I'm up for a conversation, does it? Because I'm just sort of kneeling, but I think that is the taunt. It's just a bit bland. And I know I probably chose this taunt, but that does suggest how bland the other ones perhaps are. Bang. I will try and use some of his other sort of fancy manoeuvres as well. Oh, womp. Oh, womp, 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 womp. It's a perfect impression of Thor's hammer there. It goes womp, 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 womp. Why are you holding the hammer? Such a silly way of using a computer. I know it is Thor, so he doesn't technically know how to use a computer, perhaps, but nonetheless. You try typing a message now with one of your hands up in the air. It's going to be very devilishly difficult. Oh, I see. We need number 1 and number 4. Okay. Fucked him up. Yeah, and you belong there now. I don't know. Oh, right. You just smash your head against the door, and that's it. I think they've changed this as well, because previously on this game, I don't think they gave you the direction. You have to find all of these consoles yourself. Oh, plus, I don't think I actually have to do anything. I just have to be there to activate it. I am probably going to go down in a moment or two, though, which is inconvenient to say the least. But still, oh, there's a little bit of healing over there. Excellent. I suppose, yeah, I'm supposed to be in here, aren't I? Yeah. Which makes life a little bit awkward. That's down. This is where, again, it's quite nice being Tony Stark, because he can fight quite well at a distance. Not that your boy Thor can't, because obviously he tosses his little hammer. And by little, I mean it's quite big. Plus, what's quite nice is you can get him on the backswing as well. So you throw the hammer, even if you miss, you line yourself up well enough, and you can bring that hammer back on him. It's quite good. It will just whack them. Whoops, that's again the wrong button, but it's fine. It's fine. It's acceptable. Off for some dinner. Catch you later. Fair enough. Enjoy your dinner. Oh dear. Oh no! Can someone aid me? Thank you. Oh no, we are still supposed to be holding the centre. Excellent, we've done it now. It does get a little bit hectic. As I say, having not played it for quite some time, some of the nuances of the combat system I'm struggling with. Granted, a lot of the combat system is whack them quicker than they can whack you. But yeah, as I say, once upon a time, maybe it's because I'm on the easy mode. Maybe on the higher difficulties they sort of force you into finding your own doodads. But yeah, previously you did actually have to sort of locate your own... locate these consoles by yourself and sort of almost remember which console was which. Oh, in fairness, even though they're pointing me in the right direction, I've still managed to fuck it up somewhere along the line. I don't know precisely. Am I supposed to be... Alright, no. No. Maybe I am supposed to be here? I don't think I've done the rest of the things left. No, I've really... All I need to do... Oh, number 3's in here. That's why I'm confused. Where's my hammer? There's my hammer. Where's number 1? Number 1's over here. Boof! Oh, you little bitch. And you live by that hammer now. Yeah, I think he died by that hammer in fairness. You, I don't want to deal with you. And you know what? I don't have to. Oh, that Black Panther, I was really happily going to sneak up behind him and give him beatings, but turns out I didn't need to give him beatings. He's on my side. Oh, big swing, big swing, big swing, big swing, big swing, big swing. Big swing time! Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, I should have that hammer back, I think. Oh, he needs my hammer back. I said I was going to use a couple of the other special manoeuvres, didn't I? So let's use a couple of the other special manoeuvres. So, Warrior's Fury. Got it. He's doing something nasty to me, and now I'm going to do something nasty to him. Excellent. That's what we like to see. Turnabout's fair play. And now, I've got a feeling this one... Yes, I was going to say, this one is the old Rainbow Bridge. We thought it was, and you get the little scorch mark in the bottom as well. But that's just if you've sat on a fire, you get the little scorch mark in the bottom. Oh, no, I missed it. By that much. It's fine. The allies are doing surprisingly well for me. So, whoa, hello, cheeky boy. I think someone just tried to shoot Thor. I just walked. I defended myself by casually strolling to the side. That's what we like to see. A casual stroll to the side. So I think we have to do one more of these and then we're in the vault. Oh, we missed him. I missed him again, but not on the backswing. There we go. I didn't miss him that time. So I can just leave that hammer there. Oh, that's not a door. When's a door not a door? When it's solid geometry. But, yeah. He can't get that hammer off of him. So he's incapacitated. But I can summon the hammer immediately with a big slam there. I do like the way they did the mechanics for Thor. I thought were excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed the mechanics of Thor. Thor and Iron Man, I think, were the ones I really enjoyed the mechanics for the most. Everybody else was quite fun, but Thor and Iron Man, I think, were the ones who stood out. In order to do the rapid flight, I do need the hammer, so... I hadn't 100% intended to do that, but it's fine. Sometimes you just have to have your hammer. If I had a hammer, I'd crush these bitches in the morning. Crush these bitches in the evening. I'm just gonna let my allies do it all. I'm just gonna walk here, because I'm cool Thor. Now, okay, let's get involved with a massive Thunder Smash. The first time I'd actually deliberately done that. I know, incredible, isn't it? Literally the first time you've actually intended to do that manoeuvre. Ow. Oh, there's a Red Hulk there. I wonder if they do have a Red Hulk costume. Probably. Oh no! Oh no! Look, Thor down! Thor down! I've got Thor tips. Be careful with me. Oh no! I was going to do a finisher and then I got confused and then I think someone else did it for me. Although they get the benefit of the... ow! I get the benefit of a fucking electrical thing in my face. You go over there now. You sit there, enjoy. No more shooting for you. Again, I reiterate, that hammer will just stay there with that man. Look, I can... Whoops. See? I can't investigate. Oh, he's disappeared because of the EMP. Although technically he's not a robot, so why the EMP did anything to him, I do not know, but still. But having said that, I think EMPs do stuff to humans, just not as much as they would to robots, but still, look, there you go. Poor man. Don't work anymore because he's dead, but you do pin them. They cannot get the hammer off. Oof. Not the most graceful landing, or not as graceful as I was hoping for, but it'll do. I want to just smash things, gather a load of bits and pieces. This was the other thing that, because it's a sort of loot gatherer, I think that's the other bit that didn't necessarily appease people that much. Because it gets a bit bland because of the whole, you know, well, if you want the biggest and best loot, you just have to keep doing the same levels over and over again. And I think people went, I don't really want to. So, in a most general sense, this game is a bit of a mixed bag of bits. As I say, like there, where I was smashing things with Thor's hammer, it's good fun. And the fact that they've managed to make the characters feel quite different, all with the same control scheme, is admirable and very impressive. However, it has many, many issues outside of that. Hey, mission success. There we go. And I think we've stumbled upon, yeah, the computer has settled, and we seem to have stumbled our way towards a resolution that works. It's lower than I would like. You know, 1280 by 720 is very 2015.
Excellent work, Avengers. With this vault recovered, we
but yeah,
bolstered our resources and
oh
are
dear,
one
I
step
suppose.
closer to fully
A
rebuilding the
reactive
shield.
payload breastplate,
Our
eh?
agents in the field will
And
continue
fragments.
searching for more hidden vaults.
Fragments
But
of
this
what? Nobody
certainly wasn't
knows.
the last one.
Anyway, we'll come out now and call it quits, I think. We did a touch of Blender. I would have liked to have board gamed, but it's just one of those things, I suppose. Now I'm doing the admin, deleting things, and doing other bits. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think we're down to not many people, so I don't think I'll bother doing a raid. I don't think it's hugely worth it. But anyway, we'll go to the slideshow, and I believe can't quite remember the exact. There we go. I don't know what to expect, but it was Tina Sora's birthday, so they do things like this.
Sick.
If you wanted to check them out.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ghost of Tsushima. Such a good game.
The next part will be either the book of blacksmith or the tale of our sensei Ishikawa. Now let's see if I can actually do this.
I recognise the voice of
Yes.
Ishikawa.
Ishikawa has 9 tales, and this has a total of, I want to say, that amount as well.
I believe it was. Unfortunately, I can't necessarily state later today. Precisely what time, I don't know. But Tina Sora was soaring. Soaring? Oh, I don't know. It depends on what game they're playing. Soaring away into the wild blue yonder. And of course, for those fans of miniatures and painting, I believe it was not Luke Cage, the other one, Iron Fist. Let's just have a look. Yeah. Looking like it is Iron Fist. It's Mr. Ernie Fist. Hello, I'm Mr. Ernie Fist. My surname is Fist, and my first name is Ernie Fist. Anyway, that would be tonight, 9 o'clock. For anybody outside of the UK, our clock's changed, so that might adjust when that's going to be. So, for example, right this very moment, it's 5:05. That's 5:06, but let's not be too specific. Which means in 4 hours' time is Can't Sleep's stream. So anybody outside of the UK, you might be an hour out of the usual timings you would put forth. Difficult to notice that. But as I say, if you give it approximately 4 hours from now, that is your 9 o'clock marker for Mr. Carslake. And this is him trying to drink in a goblin mask.
That's inside the mask now.
Trying to gobble it. Goblin down in a goblin mask. Anyway, that's the sort of shenanigans you can expect from Mr. Carslake Must Paint, who is also going on holiday for 2 weeks. So, interesting. I'm assuming either he's miscalculated or I'm miscalculating somewhere on the line. But I suppose maybe he's preparing and packing and stuff. But yeah, it's slightly interesting that he said he usually does a Wednesday stream, and he's going away for 2 weeks on Thursday, and this will be the last stream. So either I'm confused or he's confused, because technically there's a Wednesday in between those 2 dates, but never mind, we'll see what happens. As I say, thank you for being here, Old Zine. I will be back Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be back Wednesday afternoon for the Hodgepodge of Hilarity. What will happen, I don't know. That's kind of the point of the Hodgepodge. Cheerio.
Well, it's the last day I ever spend like it, I'll tell you.
We gotta get organised.
Definitely. We can't go on like this, frittering away our lives like we've done today. We've got to do something constructive. Time is valuable.
I agree.
So do I.
We only live once.
Of course we do.
There's a million things we could do.
Certainly there are. But things like
Yes,
this.
like
sure we could.
I'll see you next Sunday then.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
Good night.